CSUN students are reacting to the controversial decision in the last play of the Super Bowl.
We know that denial is the last act of genocide.
Armenian Americans in Southern California are marking the 100th year since the Armenian genocide. CSUN students kicked off Black History Month with a Martin Luther King Jr. pageant.
This is Valley View News.
Hello, and welcome to Valley View News. I'm John Gripe.
And I'm Lorena Mejia.
President Obama is proposing a $4 trillion budget focusing on liberal policies that are not expected to pass in the Republican-dominated Congress. This will be the last proposed budget in Obama's presidency, and observers say it will define the Democratic Party in the 2016 election. The budget focuses on what the president calls middle-class economics. It includes plans to tax the largest corporations and wealthiest citizens to strengthen the government's role in providing economic opportunities. President Obama says the budget addresses problems that need to be taken more seriously.
It helps working families' paychecks go farther by treating things like paid sick leave and child care as the economic priorities that they are.
The budget includes strengthening health care and providing 2 free years of community college to students. Many Republicans do not agree with Obama's proposals. The Republican budget proposals are expected to focus on lowering taxes and reducing spending to help lower the national debt.
Republican leaders in Congress are set to approve the controversial Keystone XL pipeline project. The proposed pipeline would pump oil from Western Canada to refineries on the U.S. Gulf Coast. President Obama says the process should go through the State Department, not Congress. Supporters of the bill say the pipeline will bring much-needed jobs to the United States, while opponents argue the oil pipeline will harm the environment.
CSUN has the largest number of university students of Armenian background outside of Armenia. The CSUN Armenian Studies program held a conference dedicated to the 100th memorial of the Armenian genocide. Jasmine Dalton has more on the event.
And we know that denial is the last act of genocide.
Many Americans have heard of the Holocaust, which involved the deaths of 6 million Jews. However, many people, other than those of the Armenian background, haven't heard of the Armenian genocide. In 1915, leaders of the Turkish government set a plan to wipe out Armenians living in the Ottoman Empire. The Turkish government does not acknowledge this tragic era as genocide. For many years, Armenians were massacred and deported out of their homes. 1.5 million of 2 million Armenians were killed.
The last session was how do we make claims in the legal system to recover, to demand justice.
Makashchin was just one of the many panelists who spoke about genocide awareness, as well as the past, present, and future of the Armenian genocide.
Because without education, how will our young people recognize denial of the Armenian genocide when it happens? How can they be good citizens by voting to recognize the Armenian genocide?
The conference also covered the issue of language as a victim and legal responses to genocide-related liabilities.
In other words, although the language's primary function and instrumental value as a vehicle of communication has narrowed in scope, the symbolic value invested in the language has actually expanded.
The genocide will never be forgotten, as future generations will continue to commemorate and spread awareness.
We're able to contribute to the CSUN community, but also make strides in terms of, like I said, educating about the culture, but also being able to host different kinds of activities and events that will bring in non-Armenians.
Even though the Turkish government is not recognizing the Armenian genocide, Armenians are still standing strong today, as they will never forget their ancestors. In Northridge, Jasmine Dalton, Valley View News.
Jordan is waiting to find out if its captured pilot will be released by the terror group ISIS. Jordan offered to release a jailed ISIS bomber in exchange for the pilot. The situation has been complicated because an ISIS negotiation with Japan fell through. The terror group wanted $200 million ransom for a Japanese journalist it had captured in Syria. The group beheaded him when Japan didn't pay the ransom.
2 experimental Ebola vaccines are being used on volunteers in Liberia. The vaccine contains a small, harmless fragment of the Ebola virus. 12 volunteers are receiving the vaccine injections, and it is still experimental and it's not clear if it will provide protection against Ebola. The number of Ebola cases in Liberia has been steadily declining, although health experts caution that this does not mean Ebola is under control in Liberia.
Police say a Los Angeles man has confessed to killing his transgendered girlfriend in their apartment. The body of the woman was found in Van Nuys after firefighters responded to a fire in the building. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Officials say she has been stabbed several times. The man turned himself in and was accompanied by a pastor. Neighbors say the couple had recently moved in and were heard fighting constantly, including the night of the incident.
In recent years, multiple cities in Los Angeles have been working to reduce the exposure of secondhand smoke. Valley View reporter Dianis Lopez-Reyes shows us how the city of Glendale prevents tobacco use.
In 2008, the city of Glendale passed the Fresh Air Ordinance to improve the quality of life of its residents, local businesses, and visitors. Glendale Breathe Fresh Air. It's a local campaign that prohibits smoking in the city's property, including parks, libraries, schools, and more. Glendale recently has been ranked among the healthiest cities in exposure to secondhand tobacco smoke. It is also known as the Jewel City with over 190,000 culturally diverse people, and it's considered one of the largest cities of Los Angeles County.
The American Lung Association has been putting out this report for 6 years now, and the city of Glendale has earned their A grade rating for 6 years. So this is something that the city is committed to year after year. We're really committed to reducing the amount of secondhand smoke in our community and working with our multifamily housing units and our business community to reduce that exposure.
The A grade comes from Glendale's total points in 3 categories: smoke-free outdoor air, smoke-free housing, and reducing sales of tobacco products. The Americana brand, Glendale Community College, and many multi-unit rentals have been supporters of this ordinance.
Many restaurants and businesses here at Brand Boulevard have joined the fight against secondhand smoke. Ashtrays have been placed so cigarette butts don't end up on the sidewalks. Also, for those who smoke, the city has designated areas so they can smoke without the concern of getting a fine by the police or being bothered by other people.
I definitely say that's a great law that they passed. I like the idea, and cigarette can last you smoking it like 3 minutes, and if you're sitting next to that person, that's a lot of smoke that you're inhaling.
As of June 2013, smoking is prohibited in all new Glendale multi-unit rental housing, and for more information, people can visit Glendale's website at www.glendaleca.gov. In Glendale, Dianis Lopez-Reyes, Valley View News.
CSUN alumni Max Aram and business partner Chris Blevins have started a solar energy pricing site called Pick My Solar. Blevins says it helps consumers and the environment.
The green aspects of it, that you're going to be doing, offsetting a lot less CO2. It's obviously much more environmentally friendly.
Anyone interested in making the switch from electricity to solar can use their website and put their current bill with zip codes for prices. Blevins encourages customers to go solar before the end of 2016 to use a federal tax credit that takes 30% off the cost of the system.
The Super Bowl was decided by a last-minute interception. And coming up next, we will have CSUN students react to the play that sealed the win for the Patriots.
Do you know what to do?
Yes.
Bring it back to me. Then I'll give you your money.
Frank Thomas, you are under arrest for the theft of trade secrets. Come with me.
Bye-bye, Frank. Theft of trade secrets is illegal.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for. your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Now with the latest on the world of sports, here is John Salas.
Thank you. Going into Super Bowl 49, many storylines came into play. Would Tom Brady join an elite club of quarterbacks to win 4 Super Bowls? Or would the Seattle Seahawks be the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Patriots did it in 2003 and 2004? Seattle was able to hold New England to 57 yards on the ground, but Tom Brady's arm overcame 2 early interceptions as he threw for 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers for over 300 yards. The Pats win Super Bowl 49. Brady joins his childhood idol, Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw, as the only quarterbacks in the NFL history to win 4 Super Bowls. Super Bowl commercials were in full force and left their mark. 15 first-time sponsors paid $4.5 million for each 30-second spot. This year's commercials advertise automakers, celebrities, film sequels, even fatherhood. A domestic violence public service announcement from NoMore.org aired with a horrifying 911 call. No More teamed up with the NFL after a year of high-profile domestic violence cases. Valley View talked with some CSUN students about the outcome of what some are calling the most exciting game in years.
It's probably one of the best games because I'm a Patriot fan.
With the Seahawks losing at the last 20 seconds, I saw a pinnacle opportunity to reopen Facebook and just throw every single meme I could find about them losing.
There should be some type of firing to do with the Seahawks, but come on, Super Bowl, you know what I mean? You gotta run it in.
I was really pumped, really, like when they caught it, Seahawks caught it at the end, and then the end just kind of crushed me.
There's nothing quite like the Super Bowl when it comes to spending money, whether it's on tickets, food, or advertisements. Reporter John Gripe has a story about just how much cash the game generates.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
It is genuinely regarded as the television event of the year. On the first Sunday of February, over 100 million viewers tune in to watch the Super Bowl. And after a season troubled both on and off the field for the NFL, it seems to have no effect on profits. Ad prices increased to $4.5 million for a 30-second spot. USA Today says that that's about $500,000 more than last year's figure. But it's not just worldwide brands that are spending big on the game. WTNH News says that on average, each viewer spends about $80 on merchandise, decorations, and game day food and drinks. Even seats for the game will be going down as the most expensive in NFL history, costing over $4,000 per ticket. For Seahawks fan Joe Doyle, he says that the whole experience of the game changes when your team is playing in it.
When your team's in it, I mean, you're in it 100%, you know? That was a great performance. You can't win a Super Bowl for the rest of your life, every year for the rest of your life. It's impossible.
Super Bowl Sunday has become an American holiday of sorts, growing bigger and bigger as the years go on. In fact, the Super Bowl has become so huge it's almost too much for the host city to handle. Contrary to popular belief, when a city hosts a Super Bowl, it does not necessarily lead to major economic profits. Glendale, Arizona was the host city for Super Bowl 49, and City Mayor Jerry Weirs says due to extra public safety expenses, he totally believes they will lose money as a result of hosting the Super Bowl. As for the National Football League, it was a long year consisting of more trouble than they bargained for. But as football season comes to an end, fans such as Doyle say he wants to see the NFL work to gain back some of their credibility. He's excited to see his favorite team pick up next year right where they left off.
The 1 year just to taste it, tasted good. I'd like to do it again, but you know, getting to the dance is pretty cool too.
In Los Angeles, John Gripe, Valley View News.
We are about 2 weeks away from the 2015 college baseball season, and I had the opportunity to sit down with Cal State Northridge's head coach to discuss the upcoming season. We have CSUN baseball coach Greg Moore. Greg, how's it going?
It's going well, John. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you for taking the time. Now, let's get right to the chase. Last season, you guys tied 8th in conference. As your first year as head coach, was that what you were expecting out of the season last year?
Our expectation was to work throughout the year, to show up every day and do the right thing the right way at the right time. We did that. I'm very proud of the group that we had. They invested the time, they invested the effort. What the record says at the end, I don't look at that. I look at the growth we saw and the improvements that we made. There was plenty of both.
Now this year, we noticed there's 23 newcomers this year coming in. How many of them will we actually see coming opening weekend?
I think you're going to see a variety of teams that we can put out on the field. We have a little bit better depth. We've got some explosive young players. Now, our returning core is also very good, with Will Colantano coming back, Nick Blazer, our leading hitter last year. So I think you're going to see some athletic young guys, newcomers, complement the group that returns. It's so hard to make a transition into college baseball. No matter how good you were in junior college or how good you were in high school, you're going to see a mix, however, and a mix of talented guys.
Now, for you as a coach, what have you done differently this year to prepare the team than last year?
Well, it's a progression. Yesteryear, last year, it was about instilling the ethic of work, running to work instead of running away from the idea that something's going to be difficult. This year, the returning group understands that. So now we really need to hone in on understanding that it's about taking that work and directing it at the game of baseball. And when we do that, we start to understand what that leads to off the field, the focus on the field, the ability to communicate in pressure situations. Those are all skills that seep out into their lives. But now that we're running towards work, we can start to look at those specific skills and how they translate on a baseball field.
Now, in 2013, the year before you came in, the pitching staff had a low 3 earned run average, and last year they had a little above 4. What has the pitchers done specifically this year to make sure that gets lowered this upcoming season?
That's a good question. As far as ERA, I didn't know what our ERA was last year, and I didn't know what it was the year before. What we're going to do better and better is we're going to understand our routines better, pre-game, in-game, post-game. What we're going to do better is we're going to understand our game jobs better. What we'll do better is we'll take signs in an improved way, and we'll execute at a higher level. Those are our goals. What the ERA is, there's so many determinant factors that are outside of our control. So we'll focus on one day, one pitch at a time.
Now, small ball, it's really crucial in baseball, more you're seeing these days. Has there anything been more enforced this offseason for more bunts and getting runners over this offseason?
Well, college baseball is interesting. It always tweaks and changes. A few years ago, small ball became the thing because you had dead bats, you had big parks. This year, I think you're going to see a mix. The balls are going to lower seams, and for the physics majors out there, they're going to enjoy that because you're going to see balls travel 10 to 15 feet further when they're hit 300 feet or more. So you're going to see the return of the big guy that gets in the middle of our order, gets into the middle of some recruiting classes for other schools. But you don't change much. It's still fundamental baseball, and every once in a while the game will dictate that you can do some different things with the personnel that you have.
Now, recent coaches poll just came out over the weekend. Had you guys slated 6. How do you keep your players from being distracted from hearing all the outside media and all the talk about standings and statistics and everything?
You have to look at reality. The reality was that the Super Bowl was yesterday. The reality is that in 2 weeks another team shows up and they're going to play us. You look backwards, you look forward, and you learn from both bookends, but you need to look down day by day. We're picked 6th, and I laugh at that. I say, what's the statistical probability that we're the only team picked 6th in the Big West? It's improbable because there's only one. We are it. So we take the focus to ourselves. We look down, we go day by day, and you smile at those things. You appreciate the conference and how well run it is. But we don't get caught up in things that don't matter.
Greg, thank you. Thank you for your time. February 13th, the Matadors open up their season against Utah Valley at 2 p.m. We recorded that earlier as Coach Moore had other things to take care of. Women in the San Fernando Valley are redefining the meaning of a soccer mom. Valley View reporter Lorena Mejia tells us their story.
Under bright lights, players gather at Branford Park in the San Fernando Valley, on a field where they break cultural barriers. What's unusual about them is that many of these players are Latina working mothers. Although they have jobs and kids of their own, these women still have time to do what they love, but it hasn't been an easy journey.
My mother was always negative about it. She always wanted me to be a girly girl, my nails done, my hair done, makeup, the whole 9 yards. Typical older Mexican lady.
Because of cultural traditions, women are seen as individuals who serve the family. But these players are proof that they can be dedicated to their family and also a sport.
I'm kind of known to be a little bit girly, so to be out there in a field of dirt here, you know, and kind of roughhousing a little bit, pushing and that sort of thing, people are surprised by that.
But it is at this park where a safe space is created for women to become healthy, and an inspiration to those who think that being active isn't possible.
It's women that have never played the sport. They heard about the sport but never played it, and they're interested in playing. So I give them a chance here, you know, and we start from the ground up. We teach them everything from, you know, basic skills to advanced.
With the physical activity and confidence that they gain, these women become better individuals while shattering a long-standing idea that has kept them from doing what they love. As the night continues, the passion for this sport thrives for these ladies. In Arleta, I'm Lorena Mejia, Valley View News.
That's all for sports. Kicking it back to John and Lorena.
Hey, John, I got to ask. If you're head coach Pete Carroll, you run the ball at the goal line, right?
Oh, I'm telling Russell Wilson, if you want to win an Oscar, you're either going to run the ball or you're going to do a play action. Fools the defense. The whole world knows a run's coming. You know it's going to Marshawn. You tell him, hey, you want to go to Oscar last year, win actor? For the best play call, I guarantee you find Marshawn or someone else in the corner of the end zone. Instead of talking about Tom Brady being the best quarterback, we're talking about this Richard Sherman being the best quarterback in the league.
Well, that's not all that happened. Katy Perry's halftime show scored a big win with fans. We'll have more on entertainment with Randy Freese coming up next.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
You guys going to my party on Friday?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy.
All right.
What's up, dude? I'm loving your jacket.
Don't be such a fag.
If you don't mean it, why say it? Words hurt. Think before you speak.
Randy Freese has the latest in entertainment news.
Thank you. Well, as we know, the Super Bowl was one of the most watched television events in U.S. history. Katy Perry headed the halftime show where she performed many of her greatest hits. Perry created buzz on social media with her hit song, Firework. It was the second most talked about event on Facebook, right behind the last-minute interception in the game. She also performed alongside special guests Missy Elliott and Lenny Kravitz. Ratings indicated that more than 111 million people watched the halftime performance. Rap mogul Suge Knight has been charged with murder and attempted murder after running over two men in Compton. Police say Knight and one of the victims began arguing on the set of Straight Outta Compton, a biopic about the rap group NWA. The second victim and Knight were involved in a fistfight. The 49-year-old co-founder of Death Row Records struck both victims with his pickup truck and fled the scene. Sources close to Knight tell TMZ that Knight feared for his life and had no idea his truck hit anyone. A former actor who played one of the Power Rangers has been arrested on suspicion of killing his roommate. 36-year-old Ricardo Medina Jr. played the Red Power Ranger and allegedly stabbed Joshua Sutter to death with a samurai sword. Police say the two had a heated argument. Sutter reportedly forced his way into Medina's bedroom and Medina stabbed him in the abdomen. The actor was jailed in Palmdale. The start of Black History Month got a boost of sorts as Dick Gregory received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The legendary black comedian is the 2,542nd person to get this honor on the Boulevard of Stars. During the ceremony, the 82-year-old comedian expressed his gratitude towards everyone that helped him achieve this milestone in the entertainment industry. The comedian and civil rights activist was accompanied by his wife, children, and grandkids to receive this honor. Gregory's big break came in 1961 when Hugh Hefner booked him to perform at Chicago's Playboy Club. He also participated in the civil rights movement and protests against U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. Gregory and his wife are also celebrating their 56th wedding anniversary. Whether you decide to go to a parade or church, there are a number of ways to celebrate Black History Month this year. Valley View talked to CSUN students who are finding different ways to observe this historic month.
At my church, we actually have a Black History Month program. We have two, like one for like the little kids and one for the adults. So yeah, I actually participate in the one with the adults, not the kids.
Well, usually I'll go and visit my old high school, and they have like little events like parades and stuff where they teach the kids about the history.
For Black History Month, they release a lot of shoes acknowledging the month and celebrating like black athletes and all that. Like Kobe comes out with like a special shoe for Black History Month. LeBron comes out with a special shoe.
CSUN's Black Student Union is kicking off this Black History Month in a historical way. Courtney Williams has more on the event.
CSUN's Black Student Union came together to celebrate the commemoration of Dr. Martin Luther King. The students invited speakers to discuss the current state of Black people in and around the community. However, this wasn't an ordinary celebration. The students brought CSUN to another level in campus history by implementing the first annual Because of Them, We Can pageant. The president of the union made sure the students were able to showcase their appreciation in a special way.
We wanted to do something different, something to where we can give students a chance to represent that legacy, students who are doing things on campus to better the Black community. The majority of everybody that was up there are either a part of BSU or a member of BSU, and they support us, which is great.
Hosted by Ashley Wright and Malik DJ Take Flight, guests talked about California's Black history, reparations for people of African descent, and getting more politically active.
Oscar Grant, Kendrick McDade, and Latasha Hawkins, and multiple others who've been gunned down from police violence.
She grew up in South Central Los Angeles, surrounded by the talent portion displayed cultural dances, poetry,
ain't no justice in this damn nation,
singing, and acting. The pageant was complete with swimsuit and evening wear segments. Winners Herman and Joy strutted their Mr. and Mrs. Diaspora slashes.
Well, I feel honored to have won this title. I didn't expect to win, so it was a great surprise, and I'm glad that I participated.
The contestants and the crowd ended the celebration with a chant signifying unity. The contestants displayed how they can represent Dr. King and others in Black history by positively letting our campus know there is more to be done. In Northridge, Courtney Williams with Valley View News.
And that's it for entertainment. Now back to Lorena with more on what's up with these 6 more weeks of winter.
Despite overcast skies in Pennsylvania, Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow predicting 6 more weeks of winter. Last year, Phil also predicted an extended winter season, and he was right. Many locations on the East Coast, especially around Washington, D.C., received over 30 inches of snow. This year, they have had less than 4 inches so far. We'll see if Phil gets it right again.
Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm John Greip.
And I'm Lorena Mejia. Have a great week.